I don't know who told you to quit, but I'm here to tell you today. Don't you dare give up, yeah? Life hit you hard. So what? You tired? I get it, but tired don't mean done. See, the problem ain't that you're struggling. The problem is you thinking that struggle is a sign to stop now. It's a sign topish you were built for this, you didn't come this far, just to come this far. You've got a why, and that why is stronger than any excuse, stronger than any setback, stronger than any storm. So today, right now, I'm talking to the fighter in you, the warrior, the survivor, the one who's been knocked down but still breathing. And as long as you're breathing, you still got time to win. Yeah, it hurts right now. I know it does. You're waking up every morning with that weight on your chest. You're pushing through your day, pretending like everything's okay, but deep down, you're fighting a battle that nobody else sees, and you're tired. You're tired of trying, tired of failing, tired of putting in all this work and still not seeing the results you want. You feel like giving up. You feel like throwing in the towel. But let me tell you something right here, right now. Pain is temporary, but legacy is forever. See, the pain you're feeling today might last a minute, an hour, a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside. It will go away. And when it does, something incredible happens. You're left with what you built through it. You're left with the results. You're left with the strength you gained, the discipline you developed, the character you built. The problem is, most people never make it to that point because they quit in the middle of the pain. They give up right before the breakthrough. They stop just inches away from the finish line. You've got to understand, greatness is not built in comfort. It's born in the fire. It's forged in the moments when everything in you is screaming to quit. But you make the decision to keep going anyway. That's when champions are made. That's when legacies are built. Not when the sun is shining and everything is easy, but when the storm hits and you choose to stand tall, to fight back, to rise up. That's what separates the ones who make history from the ones who are forgotten. I'm not talking about the kind of legacy that just shows up on your resume or your Instagram bio. I'm talking about the kind of legacy that lasts, the kind that lives on in people's hearts, the kind that changes your family tree, the kind that says, I was here, and I made something out of the pain. When people look back at your life, they're not going to remember how many times you fell. They're going to remember how many times you got back up. They're going to remember the fight. They're going to remember the perseverance. They're going to remember the example you set when quitting looked like the easy option, but you chose the hard way, the right way. You see, every time you push through the pain, you're writing a new page in your story. A page that someone else one day is going to read and say, because they didn't give up, I won't either. Your legacy isn't just about you. It's about the people coming after you. It's about your kids, your community, your purpose. Every second you think about quitting, remember, someone else is watching you. Someone else is learning from you. Someone else is depending on your strength to inspire theirs. And when you give up, you don't just rob yourself, you rob them. You have to shift your mindset. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Because that pain, that struggle, it's not a punishment. It's preparation. It's shaping you into the person you were born to be. It's grinding off the weakness, the fear, the doubt. It's revealing the fighter underneath. And once that fighter shows up, once you realize that you can take the hit and keep moving forward, There's nothing that can stop you. People always want the success, the fame, the recognition, but they don't want the sacrifice. They don't want the late nights, the early mornings, the losses, the doubts. But that's the price, that's the process. And let me tell you, it's always worth it. Because when you cross that finish line, when you achieve what they said was impossible, when you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought, that's when the pain fades. That's when you realize every tear, every setback, every lonely night, it all meant something. It was building something. It was building you. And what it built doesn't go away when the lights turn off. What it built becomes your legacy. The stuff you're going through right now, the late nights, the heartbreaks, the setbacks, the failures, that's not the end of your story. That's the beginning of your strength. What you don't understand yet is that your struggle isn't a curse. It's a gift. It's the very thing that's molding you into the person you were born to be. See, most people try to run from the struggle. They try to avoid the hard parts, skip over the painful moments, and fast forward to the success. But what they don't realize is, the struggle is your superpower. You've been through things that would have broken other people. You've had moments where everything fell apart, and yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still trying. That means something. That means you've got something inside you that can't be taught in a classroom, can't be bought with money, and can't be faked. You've got resilience. You've got grit. You've got the kind of fight that only comes from going through the fire and choosing not to be consumed by it. People look at successful individuals and think they were just lucky, or they had a head start. But what they don't see is the behind the scenes, the nights they cried themselves to sleep, the days they questioned everything, the times they failed again and again and still refused to quit. That struggle gave them the tools to win. That pain taught them how to fight. That's what you're building right now, whether you see it or not. You're developing a foundation that's so solid, no storm can knock it down. You're learning how to stand tall in the face of pressure. And pressure is where diamonds are made. To stop wishing for things to get easier. Start training yourself to get stronger. Because you're not here to just survive. You're here to grow, to elevate, to transform. And growth doesn't happen in comfort. Growth happens when you're stretched, when you're challenged, when you're pushed past your limits and forced to dig deep for strength you didn't even know you had. That's what the struggle does. It reveals what's already inside others. Something powerful about pain when you decide to use it instead of let it use you. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. That choice is always yours. Every time life knocks you down, you've got the opportunity to either stay down or get back, up stronger, wiser, hungrier. And every time you get back up, you send a message to the world. I'm not done. I'm not broken. I'm not giving up. Thing is, people connect with your struggle way more than your success. Your struggle is what makes you real. It's what makes you relatable. It's what inspires others to keep going. Nobody's moved by a perfect story. They're moved by the real story, the one with the ups and downs, the pain and the progress, the setbacks and the comebacks. Your struggle is the testimony that proves greatness doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from refusing to stay in island. When you start to embrace your struggle instead of hiding it, something shifts. You stop feeling sorry for yourself. You stop asking, why me? And you start asking, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Because the truth is, some of the most powerful versions of you can only be unlocked through adversity. Your mindset, your faith, your drive, all of that is sharpened by struggle. It strips away the fluff. It shows you who you really are. Being tested right now not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to handle it. Life doesn't throw mountains at people who aren't meant to climb them. You've been chosen, not cursed. You've been prepared, not punished. And everything you're going through is part of the preparation for where you're headed. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of this pain that's unstoppable, uncheckable, undeniable. But you've got to keep going to meet that version. You've got to keep showing up, keep pushing, keep fighting, not despite the struggle, but because of it. You think this is tough. You think this is the hardest thing you've ever had to face. Look back. Look at everything you've already been through. You've survived things that could have broken you. You've lived through days when you didn't think you'd make it to the next one. You've taken losses, betrayal, failure, disappointment, and yet you're still here. That's not by accident. That's not coincidence. That's proof. Proof that you've got more strength in you than you give yourself credit for. And if you've already survived the worst, then why stop now? Why give up here? Most people forget how far they've come. They get so focused on what they haven't achieved yet, they overlook what they've already overcome. But survival is no small thing. You've made it through chaos. You've carried pain in silence. You've walked through storms with no umbrella, no map, no guide, just sheer willpower. That's not weakness, that's power. That's strength that's been earned, not given. And that strength doesn't just disappear, it's still in you, right now, waiting to be used again. See, life has this way of testing us. It doesn't announce the trials, it doesn't give you a warning, it just shows up, uninvited, unexpected, and hits hard. But every time you think it's going to knock you out for good, somehow you rise. Somehow, you find the energy to stand back up. And that's what makes you different. That's what separates you from the people who stay down when they fall. You've got fight in you. You've got that bounce back spirit. You've got that refusal to be counted out. No matter how many times you've been hit, it's easy to be strong when everything's going right. It's easy to smile when life is smooth. But true strength shows up in the dark. True strength is born when there's no applause, no support, no recognition, just you and your decision to keep going. You've been in that place before. You've had to be your own motivation, your own reason, your own hope, and you made it through. That proves you've got what it takes to do it again. Too many people see a new obstacle and forget all the ones they've already climbed. They act like they're starting from zero, but you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. You've been here before, different challenge, same grit. Different season, same warrior. You've already proven you can handle adversity. This isn't brand new. This is another chapter, not the end of the bookend when you feel like quitting. You've got to go back and remember those moments when you wanted to give up before, but didn't. Remember the time you pushed through anyway. Remember the strength you found when your back was against the wall. That version of you still exists. That version of you is still alive. And that version is waiting to be called up again. And underestimate what you've endured. Don't downplay your own story. The fact that you're still here, still trying, still fighting, that's powerful. That's rare. There are people who folded under less. People who gave up when the first door closed, when the first person doubted them, when the first dream didn't go as planned. But not you. You kept moving. You kept believing. Even when the results didn't show up. Even when the world told you it wasn't worth it. It tells me something about you. It tells me you've got a deeper purpose, a bigger reason. It tells me that what's inside you is stronger than what's in front of you, that your mindset is built for resilience, that you are made to overcome, not retreat. You don't need perfect circumstances. You just need to remember who you are. You need to tap back into the fighter that's been in you all along. There will be more tests. There will be more moments that push you to your limit. But if you've made it through your worst days, then you've already proven you can survive your hardest trials. This moment might feel heavy, but you've carried heavier. It might seem impossible, but you've already done what others said couldn't be done. You're not weak. You're seasoned. You're not lost. You're learning. And everything you've faced before today has prepared you for exactly what you're facing now. You can make excuses, or you can make progress, but you can't do both. That's the truth. That's the reality that most people don't want to hear. Excuses are easy. They're comfortable. They let you off the hook. They give you something to blame when things don't go your way. But excuses never built anything. No one ever reached greatness by saying, "I was going to do it." But every time you make an excuse, you trade in your potential for a little bit of comfort. You take a step back when you could have taken a step forward. Discipline is what separates the winners from the quitters. You think the people who succeed never got tired. You think they always felt motivated, always had support, always had clarity. No, they just made a decision. They decided that their goals were more important than their excuses. They decided to show up even when they didn't feel like it. They decided that progress, no matter how slow, was better than standing still. That's discipline. It's not flashy. It's not fun. But it's what gets the job done. Excuses sound best to the person making them. You can convince yourself that now's not the right time, that you're too busy, too tired, too stressed, too broke. But guess what? Life doesn't pause for your comfort. It doesn't stop moving just because you're not ready. And if you keep waiting for the perfect conditions, you'll be waiting forever. There will always be something in the way, always a reason not to. The people who win in life aren't the ones with no obstacles. They're the ones who move. Anyway, with obstacles in their path, you have to hold yourself accountable. Stop blaming the world for what you haven't done. Stop pointing fingers at your past, your environment, your circumstances, because as long as you believe the problem is outside of you, you've also handed away the power to fix it. Take your power back. Own your story. Own your flaws, your mistakes, your failures, and then own the comeback. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done even when it's hard, especially when it's hard when you live on excuses. You become a slave to your limitations. You start to believe the lies you tell yourself. You convince yourself that you're not capable, that you're not smart enough, not strong enough, not lucky enough. But none of that is real. Those limitations were built by fear, not by fact. And the longer you stay in that mindset, the more you build a prison around your own potential. Every excuse is another brick in that wall. And every act of discipline, every time you choose to keep going instead of quitting, is a brick knocked down. Nobody's coming to save you. That's not meant to scare you. That's meant to empower you. Because the moment you realize it's all on you, that's when everything changes. You stop waiting, and you start working. You stop hoping, and you start building. And in that moment, you become dangerous, because now you've got control. You've got ownership. You've got responsibility. And responsibility is where growth lives. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you're overwhelmed, if life isn't fair. It only asks one question: will you show up anyway? Will you take one more step? When your legs are shaking, will you do what needs to be done even when no one is watching, no one is clapping, and no one is helping? That's the standard. That's the mindset. Because consistency beats talent when talent doesn't show up. Because work ethic will outlast luck every single time. Excuses are the language of average. Discipline is the language of champions. If you want to rise above average, you've got to change the way you speak to yourself. Stop telling yourself what you can't do. Start telling yourself what you will do. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because your goals don't care about your comfort zone. Your dreams don't care how hard it is. They only respond to action, to effort, to sacrifice. You weren't born to sit on the sidelines of your own life. You weren't built to watch other people live the life you want while you tell yourself stories about why you can't have it. You've got what it takes, but you'll never see it until you stop making excuses and start making moves. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom, it's control. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. The only way you lose is if you quit. That's the bottom line. That's the cold truth. People fear failure like it's the end, like it defines them. But failure isn't the end. Quitting is. As long as you're still trying, still pushing, still showing up, you're still in the game. And when you're in the game, anything is possible. But the moment you quit, it's over. That's when the door closes. That's when the dream dies. Not when you fail, but when you stop trying. You might fall 7 times. You might fall 77 times. But you get up 78. That's the mindset. That's the difference maker. Too many people stop at failure like it's a dead end, when really, it's a detour. It's a teacher. It's part of the process. Nobody gets it right the first time. Nobody becomes great without falling flat on their face more than once. The most successful people you know, they've failed more than the average person has even tried. Trying gives you a chance. It gives you the opportunity to improve, to adapt, to grow. Every time you try again, you learn something new. You develop a deeper level of grit. You sharpen your skills. You start to build momentum. But when you quit, all of that stops. The growth stops. The lessons stop. The progress stops. You never get to find out what was waiting for you on the other side of persistence. People talk about winning like it's a mystery, like it's reserved for a special group of people. But the truth is, winners are just people who didn't quit. They were the ones who got back up. They were the ones who stayed committed when the hype died down, when the motivation ran out, when the crowd disappeared and it was just them and the grind. They kept going. That's it. That's the secret. Show up. Again and again. Even when it doesn't make sense to. Even when you're tired. Even when you're doubting yourself. Even when no one believes in you. You've got to stop seeing setbacks as signs to stop. They're not. They're tests. They're checking your commitment. Asking, do you really want this? Because if your dream was easy, everyone would have it. If the goal required no struggle, everyone would reach it. But the reward is reserved for the resilient, for the ones who can take the hit and keep walking, not just once. Every time there's always going to be a voice in your head telling you to quit. telling you it's too hard, it's taking too long, you're not good enough, and that voice gets louder when things get tough, but you have to learn how to talk back. You have to remind yourself why you started in the first place. You have to remind yourself that quitting doesn't end the pain. It just guarantees it never leads to anything greater. Trying hurts, failing hurts, but regret lasts forever. You owe it to yourself to see what happens if you don't give up. You owe it to the younger version of you, the one who dreamed, who believed, who hoped to keep fighting. You owe it to the people watching you, the ones drawing strength from your journey, to keep going, because someone out there is thinking about quitting too. And when they see you stand back up, it gives them the courage to do the same. Doesn't mean it's always going to work out the way you imagined. Sometimes the path changes. Sometimes the timing shifts, but none of it is wasted. Every attempt, every effort, it's building something. It's building belief. It's building endurance. It's building the version of you that can handle the success when it finally comes. You're not weak for wanting to quit. That makes you human, but strength. Strength is what happens when you feel that urge to quit and keep going anyway. That's what champions do. They feel the fear, the fatigue, the frustration, and still choose forward. They understand that quitting is a guaranteed loss, but trying always leaves the door open. Always. Because sometimes, all it takes is one more try. One more attempt. One more day. That could be the one that changes everything.